Based on the lack of respect that China has shown to the world markets, I am hereby raising the tariff charged to China by the United States to 125% effective immediately.
125% tariff.
I told them if you retaliate, we're going to double it. And that's what I did with China, because they did retaliate.
Everybody's freaking out because Trump announced a 125% tariff on China.
Christmas. 80% of the toys are made in China. 6.6 trillion has been down in the stock market. The S&P 500 has had a big dip in the last 12 months, the biggest dip ever, 11%. The Dow closed down at negative 2,000 points. Could be the first time in our lifetime, our generation, we're experiencing a recession, right? The last one was in 2008, 2009. So this could be our first economic turn down since the pandemic.
From my understanding, Trump's also trying to fight the fentanyl war. The ingredients in China for fentanyl, shipping it to Mexico, Mexico's making it, and then they're bringing it across the border. That's what they're saying, and it is true. I've seen the stats about the fentanyl across the border. That's actually true. I think we got to make better cars in general. I think Jeep is a disaster.
We're getting pissed off in the markets and everybody's freaking out, where he could have did it in a more calculated way that would have made more sense.
And we made 80% of the duties that we made in 2024, we made in the first 3 months of 2025 because of the Trump tariffs. Like, he put them in right when he got in, January 20th. We made, I think it was $70 billion in tariffs.
So other than tariffs, what can the U.S. do to bring in revenue? Welcome back to the Stay Humble podcast. This is episode 12. I'm your host, Abanoub Bishay, and I'm joined with
the boy, David Guirgus. Thanks for coming back. We're happy to have you.
So we're having a big episode today. We're talking about tariffs. We're trying to unpack all the crazy stuff that's happening with the economy and the market and Trump's tariffs. What does that actually mean for you guys? What does that mean for regular people like us? Is it impacting? Should you worry? What should you do about your investment? Like, this is a very, picky situation. This could be the first time in our lifetime, our generation, we're experiencing a recession, right? The last one was in 2008, 2009. So this could be our first economic turn down since the pandemic. And this could actually affect us because now we're in college and people in my age, like David, he's working. So this is a really big topic. And also, I just can't wait to unfold it. But before we start, we noticed that there's a lot of you guys that are watching our podcast, and I really appreciate your support. We've seen 24,000 people actually attracted to the podcast, but 96% of you guys don't actually comment or subscribe to us.
Subscribe, guys.
So please, if you just press that button, help us out a lot and helps us keep.
You won't regret it.
Yeah, we're just shy of 100 subscribers. So if you guys get us to the 100 subscribers by maybe next episode, and then maybe we can, push on to bigger things, and that really motivate us to make the big, really good podcast. And also, comment what you want to see from us. We want to make a podcast that actually you guys want to hear. So comment, I want to hear this, bring on this. And then we know so many people in different sectors and industries that we can actually make something happen for you guys. But yeah, let's get it.
Yeah, and again, we love doing this. It's a lot of fun. We're starting out small, but we want to see some big growth, and we want to hear what you guys want us to talk about. We care about what you care about, so let's go. We're ready.
Yeah, so let's just start with, 6.6 trillion has been down in the stock market. The S&P 500 has had a big dip in the last 12 months, the biggest dip ever, 11%. And the Dow closed down at negative 2,000 points. So all of this market stuff was impacting everyone. I myself, I was talking to I was like, oh, how does this affect me? I'm young, I don't work. I looked at my stock portfolio because I do have a 401k and I do invest in stocks. My biggest stock was Apple, had 3,000 in Apple, and then I saw that go down to around 1,500. So I lost half of my of my stock portfolio. Well, I mean, really, I don't have much in stocks because I'm still young, but mostly I lost half my money. And the first time ever, I saw Apple stock go down below 200.
Oh, wow.
So
I never even realized that.
Yeah, but it recovered a little bit now. After today, today was massive news.
Yeah.
The reciprocal tariffs were uplifted. Now it's 10%.
Yeah.
And Trump didn't do those big tariffs that he was talking about, but still, we still have a trade war with China. I think it's at 125%. Right? It was above 100%.
So about that, so everybody's freaking out because Trump announced a 125% tariff on China.
Yeah.
But in reality, so I work in a customs broker company, right? So I'm right in the face of all of it. I'm seeing all these tariffs come out. I'm seeing customs freaking out and trying to get the tariffs out and updating our system and stuff like that. My job involves collecting duties from people, basically. That's a big part of my job. And so I see all these percentages go down. I see everything coming in from Trump, what he's saying, what's actually being implemented. And the 125% tariff actually hasn't been implemented yet. He just tweeted that. And then everybody's like, oh my God, right? So we haven't officially seen a real implementation into the collection of the 125% tariff. Right now it's about like 55 or 60%, right? And then a bunch of other stuff like he also removed Type 86 shipments, right? So you used to be able to import something from China for under $800. Let's say you buy something especially off Temu or Alibaba under $800, you can get that thing shipped for pretty cheap and get it over here pretty quickly, right? He canceled that, which means that Temu's kind of screwed right now because all their prices about to shoot through the roof because they can no longer send over a shipment and then call it a Type 86 shipment and be like, hey, it's under $800, no tariffs. That's not happening anymore. There's going to be tariffs on even that. So you buy like a $60 item off Temu and it's like, and that's high for a Temu item. You end up paying like 55% tariff. You end up paying like $30 in shipping because of the clearly that's just the duties. And you got to pay the company that's shipping it over, etc. So Temu is about to get hit real hard, which is going to be interesting. But yeah.
So you're saying like Shin, Alibaba, Timo, and honestly, Alibaba actually affects me because I did like some charging reselling and I was like buying a bunch of stock and I resell it and I thought it wouldn't affect me, but the shipping has gone significantly up where the profit margins for me are not as significant.
You saw it on Alibaba?
Well, I used to buy a bunch of chargers.
Oh, you buy it? Okay.
Yeah, and now like Amazon FBA or sell it to people.
Oh, okay.
And it made good money for a while, but now I'm like kind of slacking off.
Oh, it's cooked now.
Yeah, it's cooked. But the thing is, I think, okay, what happened with these tariffs? I think everybody was saying two things would happen. Either Trump was serious about this, and he actually wants America first, or it would just to create pressure on other countries. And it is a pump fake. We did fall for the hezzy. I'm gonna put it out there because it was really just Trump was trying to, put economic pressure on all these companies, and it worked. And then, but the Treasury, they came out and they said, you know what, maybe this is not a really good idea. So I think in the past couple of days, they pressured Trump and said, drop it a bit, right? So,
yeah, I think he. It's hard to tell, man. It's hard to tell. There's so many different parties. I'm not really like so focused on. I'm not like glued to Trump in the news, right? I'm kind of looking at what I'm seeing in front of me and how my job's being affected because I'm seeing this right. Everything that I'm doing, I'm like getting hit with the tariffs, like directly in front of me, like day by day. Like one day, someone will owe like $3,000 on a $10,000 shipment. Next day, it's $8,000. Like literally in one day, they'll have to owe $5,000 more, and it all depends on when it leaves, right? So. I don't know how it went down or what his strategy was whether to negotiate with other countries and stuff. But yeah, it's affecting people very heavily. Like I'm seeing it live, like where people are actively canceling their containers coming from China and their shipments coming from China because they can't afford to pay those tariffs. Their company, they have to charge double of what they're charging now. They can't compete.
So with the tariffs with China, I heard that the tariffs were negative because China actually for the first time has stronger ties with North Korea and Japan because they were talking.
Yeah.
And the thing is, though, we do have the leverage in the U.S. because 15% of all of China's exports, we import them. Yeah. And that makes up for $600 billion. So China really can't just say like to the U.S. like F off, we're not going to deal with you guys anymore. Because we are the biggest market technically.
Yeah, they sell everything to us.
Exactly.
They need us.
And just I think for regular consumers, like think about your fast fashion, right? Like I know girls like always on Shin. So I know like I was talking to a girl, she was like freaking out about that stuff. Because she's like, oh, where am I getting my dresses and stuff? But
she loves child labor.
Yeah, she does. But putting that aside, you think Trump is just waiting for a response from the CCP or what's going on?
Well, first off, I want to talk about what Trump did and how manipulative and honestly, kind of like it's kind of just straight up like it was really shitty. Yeah. Because he didn't actually get the tariffs that other people were charging us, he did something really interesting. What he did was he took how much we trade with them, which means how much we give them.
The trade deficit, right?
Yeah, divided by how much they give us, and then he said that was the tariff rate that they charge us.
Yeah.
Like you saw that, right? And,
Yeah.
And I think someone that talked about it, I'm not gonna take credit for it, that told me that it was Ben Shapiro.
Yeah.
Ben Shapiro was the one that first mentioned this, or that I first saw it, and it made me realize, like, damn, because Trump was talking about all these countries like overcharging on tariffs. And I'm like, how? Like,
Yeah.
where? Right?
Right.
And so he did the reciprocal tariffs, but those aren't reciprocal tariffs. Like, why does like we don't produce enough stuff to be able to sell to other countries enough, right?
No, we're actually okay. So Trump make this big narrative that we're getting screwed over, but behind China, we're the second largest manufacturer. You can't. We do a lot of manufacturing, especially like aircrafts. We're the number one.
Yeah.
And all those like technologies. So we're still big, and we have AMD, and AMD produces chips here.
Yeah.
So that's an American company. But yeah. So Professor G, I was watching Professor G before this, so I'm gonna give him his credit. But he said that that the way that Trump calculated those tariffs were so dumb because they're not reciprocal tariffs; they're just based on a trade deficit.
Yeah, it's wrong.
And and before we implemented that, the team gave him lower numbers, and Trump said no. It goes like against my narrative that America's being screwed over. So they played it with a different factor in the numbers. I'm not sure what it was.
Here's the issue with that is, like, bro, just say that. Like,
Yeah.
just say that. Just be like, I want people to stop buying from China, buy from us. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take the imports divided by exports, and then that's how much we're gonna charge them. Just say that. Why do you have to lie and say that that's the tariff rate? That's not the tariff rate. That's not okay. And it's kind of crappy because so many people that voted for him have like this Trump derangement, like this like obsession with him, where it's like he's literally God, dude. I have a crazy story about this.
Okay.
I don't want to go too off topic, but basically, I have a neighbor, right? And this guy, he's pretty cool. He's a good neighbor. He's like your classic boomer, like type of guy. Bought a house in like 1960 for like pennies. Now like is living the
Enjoying
dream.
life,
Yeah, living the dream. Like and he's like super pro Trump, like super, like he worships him, dude. He walks over to the house, and then I see him, and he's like he always has this cup that says liberal tears. They're still warm or whatever, right?
Yeah.
He's like super happy that Trump won. And then I start talking to him. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like, some of the stuff he's doing is kind of crazy. And he starts screaming. He's like what? And I'm like, I don't know if we should get rid of the Department of Education, like, completely. Like, I don't know. That's a good idea. And he's like, you know what? You already knew that. Like, you already knew that from the beginning. That's what happened. You're going to get mad now? I'm like, dude, relax. I'm just asking a question. I don't agree with one thing. I was like, and he just started yelling over me and like screaming like, dude, Trump is doing the best. You guys or whatever. He's like, stop hanging out with those. I'm sorry for my language. Those pussies that you're hanging out with. They're changing your mind. I'm like, dude, relax. Like, and he just starts going off, and I'm like, I just want to ask you a couple of questions, and I want to criticize him. Can I criticize him? He's like, yeah. And every time I criticize him, he starts yelling. So like, there's a huge population of people that just worship him and agree with everything he say, and they have no idea. They don't do any research, and that's who most of his followers are, and it's pissing me off. But yeah.
But for me, like I'm a Trump supporter. I voted for Trump, so I'm not ashamed to just put it out there. But the thing is, I actually my biggest issue in the U.S. was the debt. I actually wrote a whole book in 12th grade about this. Yeah. Shameless plug. Deficits in dollars. You can buy it on Amazon. Abanoub Bishay wrote it, so like, go ahead, copy it. It's $5.99, guys. Go on. Yo, help a college student out.
Yo, I read it. That shit fire.
No, but I was talking.
No,
about,
I didn't read it yet. But
I was talking about the debts, and one thing I was talking about was like austerity measures. How we need to cut on spending. Maybe the tariffs bring more income in, and that's what Trump's trying to do. We're running a deficit where we're financing. Our whole economy runs on $2 trillion in debt every year.
yeah,
So the whole point of those tariffs were to make America have income where we balance out those tariffs and bring additional income where we're canceling out the debt. And that's the whole point.
yeah. And look, I'm not completely hating on Trump. I think I think the deals he's making right now, they are bringing in money. They're bringing in $2 billion a day.
Mhm.
That's phenomenal. $2 billion a day. That's crazy. And I looked at the CBP stats because I have a lot of this my work. I have to look at the duties and whatever, right? And we made 80% of the duties that we made in 2024, we made in the first 3 months of 2025 because of the Trump tariffs. Like he put them in right when he got in, January 20th. We made, I think it was $70 billion in tariffs, right? And in 2024, we made $130 billion. So almost like 70 or 80% of what we made in all of 2024 was made in the first 3 months. So we're making a lot more money. I think it's good. I just feel like, I think he needs to have a little bit more compassion for the small businesses because I'm seeing it live. Like I'm seeing it live. People are literally canceling their orders. They're saying like, dude, I cannot afford this, right? And he's kind of flipping it up and down, 10% here, 25%, blah, 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 blah. It's all over the place. I'm getting calls from people every day being like, what are the tariffs now? Like, how much are I going to pay now? How many, like, multiple times. So I think he has to have a little bit more compassion, a little bit more understanding for the small businesses, and understand that these are people's livelihood that he's playing with. That's the only thing. That's my only criticism. But, yeah.
Yeah, so I agree with David 100%. And I only showed you guys like the positive of the tariffs is bringing in more money. But like I'll just look at Apple. Like they lost $40 billion. And the biggest problem with increasing the tariffs, it hurts us more because what happens, they said, I saw this like this, it came out saying if Apple actually produced an iPhone here, it'll cost anywhere from $2,300 to $3,000. And so, and we're in America, we're so used to buying like a $1,000 iPhone, switching it every year, every like 2 years. And we're so used to that fast technology. So if you want to manufacture it here, we could pay like $4,000, $5,000 for an iPhone. So the labor here and manufacturing is going to go way up. And not only that, we have the biggest customer base, right? If you're saying like, why can't we just sell iPhones in India? They have 1.5 billion people. They can't afford $1,000 iPhone. So if it's an American made, who's gonna afford a $4,000 iPhone? So that's the problem. Is our labor is way more expensive, and to have these parts produced domestically is just not feasible. And also another thing like Professor G was talking about is like Christmas. 80% of the toys are made in China, right? So if you're having family that inflate with the tariffs, inflations go up. And then those families, they can't afford as much toys. So you're going to see 20-30% less Christmas presents. If these tariffs were like were into effect all the way until next Christmas, right?
Yeah.
So the bottom line is a lot of people are saying, people are saying like, who cares? This only affects the rich because the stock market, it's only the rich people it's only the top 1% who has stock. But that the trickle down effect is so large. Ridiculous. It's so large, right?
No, it's not just the trickle down effect. That's ridiculous. 80% or 70% of Americans have like stocks.
Exactly. I myself had stock. Like I was talking about the Apple stocks that I had, and I lost 0.5% of my value, and I saw my Apple stock go below 200 for the first time in like 2 years. I never seen
Apple.
Apple go below 200.
Is because of the drop in the tariffs, right?
Right.
The announcement, yeah.
So what I'm saying is that it's gonna come back to hurt us with inflation, and we're supposed to keep inflation at 2%, right? But we might see like 4, 5, 6% inflation.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, personally, I think everyone's overreacting.
Yeah.
I think everything is gonna be fine in the end. I think what's gonna end up happening is the Chinese tariffs are gonna end up staying at 35, 40%.
So you think it's gonna?
I think it's gonna go down to 35, 40%. I think they're gonna make a deal. China can't go without us. We can't go without China. We're gonna make a deal. It's going to happen. We're going to get a better deal than we had before, right? That's the whole goal. It's going to take some time, but I think it's going to happen. And then in terms of the manufacturing, here's what in theory should happen if we put these tariffs on China, right? In theory, what should happen is people should come here, right? Apple should come here. Now, the problem with, let's say in general, right? A company that makes toys, they'll come here, right? And then the people that are still in China producing for cheap they're gonna be way overpriced than the people here, so they have to move here as well to match the price of American goods. So the goal is to have people come back to America and it worth it for them to be able to, like, the tax cuts, the no tariffs, all that stuff, all of that is enough to make it cheaper than creating in China. So that would bring all the companies back here, and then they would compete with each other. Because, like, for example, one toy company comes back to America, the other one's still in China. They see the American companies way cheaper. They have to come back. They have no other choice to be able to compete. That's what the goal is. But in reality, what are you gonna do with an iPhone? Kind of like what he said.
Yeah,
You
like-
can't, because there's no other. iPhones are a 1 in a million, or not 1 in a million. They're a unique thing that we need. There's nothing to compete with Apple. No iPhone user is gonna switch to Android.
Yeah.
They're just not. So
But we're saying if we bring manufacturer here, if it's gonna cost them $2,300 to make an iPhone,
yeah,
who's paying $4,000 for like what's the profit margin like
that's what I'm saying.
on the iPhone?
The monopolies. That's what I'm saying. So maybe there's a way that they can do tariff exemptions on specific products. That would make sense to me. But you can't do it. That's the problem. Is you probably can't give exemptions for specific companies. That's insane. That's not,
Yeah.
not fair.
That is not.
If you do exemptions for phones, then you do exemptions for all phones. And then they stay in China. But it's still cheaper than doing it here. It's complicated.
It is, but one positive effect I saw with these tariffs is with Ford. I saw that they manufactured here most of their parts, and they said they're not raising prices because they're trying to perform manufacture. But what I want to say, the one thing that I like about these tariffs, like some people might get mad, but I think we don't have pride in anything made in America, right? Like we don't have. If we want a car, like I want a BMW, I want a Mercedes. I'm not trying to go out there and get a Ford, Chevy. I mean, like there's Mustangs out there, but
They're not good.
But they're not good. I want a German car. So can these tariffs? Would we have like cool supercars made in America? Our only American company is Tesla, right? That has cars that people actually want, and that's an American manufacturer. But Trump's hope is that you bring the value of these American companies back here, and then people have pride in everything made in America. But it's a big trade-off, right? If that happens and maybe we see our companies are more valuable, I'm for it. But everything's happening in the short run, and we don't know in the long run. You know this famous economist John Hayes said, "We're all dead in the long run." So what does that matter? It's all in the short run right now, and that's why we're all freaking out.
Yeah. No, I agree, and I think we got to make better cars in general. I think Jeep is a disaster.
Yeah.
Like they haven't made a good car in forever, bro. Like the last good Jeep was like 2012, right?
Right.
Like what's your excuse, bro? Like because people are still buying them? Anyway, I'm going off another whole world.
But you think will we actually see American companies actually produce better products, or these tariffs are not doing anything? They're just making everything expensive.
I think there was I think in the 60s, like in the 20s to like 60s, there was this sense of, or maybe even later, but like there's a sense of like pride and value that you're talking about in like American made goods. Like it was tough, it was durable, it's like American made, right? And I think we lost all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because we had to compete with China, right? So maybe if we don't have to compete with China anymore and we only have to compete with ourselves, maybe it's time. Maybe we get some good. And also, China rips off a lot from us.
Yeah.
They have so many problems with intellectual property. They just rip off everything, dude. And they just make worse versions of what we make. And a lot of times, like, so I'm excited to see what happens.
But the thing, somebody said, I heard about the tariffs, is that once they go up, they make investors lose they lose credibility in investing in America. Because if you look at Meta, we trade at 8 times multiple, and then TikTok, our biggest like social media rival, it's big, but it trades at a 3x multiple. And the thing is, why
What do you mean 8x multiple?
8x multiple is that that means that our companies, people see more value in investing in like a company like Meta because they see more security, and they know that the government can just interfere and with Meta and just say you can't do this or can't do that. And while other countries, like somebody said, like I heard, like say like in El Salvador, not El Salvador, say like you're in a South American company. I mean, you're in South America, right? And you have your own, you're rich and you have a lot of stuff, right? But anybody from the government can pull at your house at any time and say that's not yours anymore. There's no security. But here in America, our companies have security.
Deficits in dollars. This is a book written by the late and great Abanoub Bishay. It talks about deficits in dollars. I have definitely read all of this, and I could say it's definitely something that you want to read. Here, I'll read the back for you until he tightens the mic, okay? It goes like this. Few obstacles loom as ominous as the national debt burden and the enormous landscape of economic concerns that governments throughout the world are experiencing. Nowhere is this responsibility felt more keenly than in the United States of America, a country whose history has been characterized by adaptability, creativity, and unparalleled global influence. However, a formidable obstacle that threatens every aspect of America's future lies beneath the surface of wealth and power, the mounting national debt. Go read it now. Deficits in dollars, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Oh,
I better get royalties for that.
Yeah, 100%. No, but okay, my point is, if you're in a corrupt company, like in China, for example, the CCP can't interfere with any company and say, you can't do this, you can't do that. In America, we have more security. So that's why if I am an investor and I want to invest in Meta, I want to invest in Apple, I do that confidently because I know that we have a freer economy and I know my investment is safer. But if I invest in TikTok or a Chinese company, I know that maybe if the government, if the CCP in China has anything that they don't like, they can immediately say, don't do this, don't do that, and
Goodbye.
and goodbye to your money. So that's why when we say trade multiples for Meta are higher, it's because we have better security. That's the only, we have better laws, and we trust in our government. I mean, we trust in our market more. That's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
But I forgot what we were saying before.
We were talking about manufacturing in the United States and whether it's going to improve. What do you think the quality of the stuff is going to improve?
Yeah, so that's the thing, is where it's okay. So New Balance, for example, right? They did they're doing most of their manufacture here compared to Nike.
I didn't know that.
All in China. So have you seen? I've seen a lot of people, especially like when I work in like the dental office, they're wearing New Balances because they're like, oh, this is an American company and they want to support American goods compared to Nike, which is all abroad. So the New Balance is one good example of how if you manufacture domestically, you can have more pride in an American brand, right? But what does that mean for like car brands or brands that nobody really likes and we go for foreign competitors? I don't know. Does that mean they're gonna produce better products, or does that mean that they're actually the labor's gonna go up and they're gonna just give us more expensive stuff?
But the problem is, the funny thing is, like, people forget that we still need a lot of stuff from other countries to manufacture here.
Yeah.
So like all the stuff that you get or that you need to manufacture, is created by things that come from other countries. So they're still gonna get tariff too. So it's like you're kind of cooked.
Okay, in a free, perfect world, there should be zero tariffs. I'm gonna put that out there. Everybody wins. All countries win with trade. Everything is cheaper. Everything, you can produce more, and trade makes us better. Because if I want your coffee, think about your coffee. Where are you getting that from? From maybe
Jordan,
East Africa,
just
right?
kidding. I'm
Getting
guessing.
it from East Africa, or maybe from Colombia, Brazil.
Yeah.
Those where the coffee is. So if we spike tariffs on those countries, how much is your Starbucks coffee gonna be now? You know what I'm saying? That your coffee beans come either from East Africa or South America. We can't grow coffee beans here.
Yeah, we can't grow avocados either. Mexico.
Exactly. Mexico has the avocados.
Yeah.
So trade makes everybody better. And you have to look, if you're into economics, you have to look at absolute advantage and comparative advantage, right? We could have the absolute advantage here, but we're never gonna have the comparative advantage because we only have such limited resources, such limited labor, where other countries can have the comparative advantage in a product. And then if they specialize in that product, we win because we buy it at a cheaper rate, and they win because we give them dollars, right? Because we have a higher currency. So you can't ignore comparative advantage. That's why countries specialize in their own products, and that's why trade makes everybody better. So we would, like, ideally we would want zero tariffs. That's better for everyone, and I think everybody can agree on that. But what is Trump saying? America's being screwed over. So that's the whole point of tariffs, is to have this leverage where we want our power restored. We don't want other countries taking advantage of us, and that's why Trump lowered it on other countries. But with China, there is a trade war with China. Trump is trying to say to China that we're not gonna get screwed over by you, and partly the reason China is big today, and okay, this is my own opinion, but I feel like we gave them too much leverage. Like the previous administrations really were not tough on China. China 10, 15 years ago was not as powerful as today. And the amount of leverage we gave them in these in having everything manufactured over there, you give them so much leverage where China can tell America, hey, if you're not gonna go by our book, or say goodbye to your clothes, say goodbye to your most of your like products, like think about it, phone chargers are everything we buy, toys. Like you go to the store, you go to Walmart, and most of these products, all these plastic products, 80% is made in what? China.
Yeah.
So we gave them so much leverage over us when we don't produce our own products that if anything happens, we can get screwed over. So that's why Trump wants to happen. But he's doing it at a rate where everybody's getting pissed off in the markets and everybody's freaking out, where he could have did it in a more calculated way that would have made more sense.
Yeah, there's a couple things that you said there that I kind of want to ask a few interesting questions about, or I think I at least think they're interesting.
Mhm.
First one is like, can we do it? Can we match China? Because not only is it that our wages are higher here, we care about our people. Like, and we have unions, and we have, not to say that China doesn't. I don't know what they're doing over there, but
We have stricter labor laws.
yeah, stricter labor laws. We have to pay people federal minimum wage and a state minimum wage. We have HR laws that, you know, PTO, sick time, health insurance, 401k, all this stuff that make the labor costs so much higher. And I think they're a good thing, and I think they're necessary. So the question is, yeah, Trump's doing this, but can we really do it? Can we actually match that so our prices don't go up? Can they go down? I don't know. I don't know if we can, because it kind of gives me the vibe that they don't really care about their people over there. They're just like, you know, it's like there's so many cases where you like hear about this like child labor, or people are like, overworked, like in Apple factories or in Shein and stuff like that. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that it's much more complicated than the tariffs they're putting on us, right? Like, from my understanding, Trump's also trying to fight the fentanyl war. And this is pretty crazy, but they're manufacturing fentanyl in China, or at least manufacturing all the ingredients in China for fentanyl, shipping it to Mexico. Mexico's making it, and then they're bringing it across the border. That's what they're saying, and it is true. I've seen the stats about the fentanyl across the border. That's actually true. Whether they're making it in China, I think it's also true. I'm not 100% sure, but that's also another reason they're doing that as well. So, yeah, I just want to hear your thoughts about that. Whether we can actually do it, and then the other factors that cause the tariffs on China.
Actually produce domestically or manufacture
Yeah, domestically. Can we really be able to create a Honda, you know, with a Honda Civic? Well, actually,
Like
we use robots now, so it doesn't even matter
Okay.
for Hondas. But like
Can
everything else, like the manufacturing, right? Can we really match them? I don't know if we can.
Yeah, so the problem is countries like us in the US, we have a higher standard of living, right? So that means most countries that have a higher GDP, usually they export more. I mean, they import more than they export. That's just how it goes. And the reason for that is like look at a country, Vietnam, right? They export everything and they have very little imports. And countries that have very little imports, they try to be self-sufficient, they don't have a great GDP. Why? Because all those countries that export, their standard of living is so low because they're rushing manufacturing. They have a low standard of living and labor is so cheap over there. So they're just trying to sell abroad to make their economy better. But they really can't afford anything to import. So for us, we are not really focused on exporting too much because we have a really sufficient economy as it is. We have a very large economy, so that's why we're not worried about that. Because most of our stuff, we don't make our money from like selling toys or making like fast products. We make aircrafts. We make what else, like refined oil products. We actually manufacture in that. A lot of agriculture is here too, right? Like potatoes from Idaho or something. So,
but do we export potatoes?
but
I think maybe McDonald's does, but like
yeah,
who buys our potatoes?
I'm not sure.
Honestly, I don't know too much about exporting in the United States. I know that it's definitely not as much as it should be. But you know, back to the tariff thing, right? Everything that we use if we were gonna make stuff here, is also need a lot of it needs to be imported.
Yeah.
So like, can we really escape prices going up if everything went up by 10%? And then, by the way, I don't know if anybody knows this, but that doesn't include the actual product itself. Like, you're hearing 10%, right? But that's just a base tariff. If you import a car, it's 2.5%. If you import clothes, it's like 15.5 cents per kilogram. If you import what else? What's something that I usually do? A lot of people import golf carts, right? Those are like from China. Those are like 10%. So if you import like a golf cart or like any other type of product, it's on top of that is a 10%. So you have to keep that in mind too.
So
It's not just 10%.
So the costs get passed on to the buyer.
Exactly. But that's the point I'm trying to make is like people think, oh, just 10%. That's not so bad. No, it's 10% plus the product that's coming in, which the vast majority of products have tariffs alone themselves.
So the manufacturer
yeah.
would pass the price on to you, basically. And
Exactly.
you see a lot of price hikes.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be, the 10% reciprocal tariffs. We're gonna definitely see price hikes, and I don't see what the point is. It's hard, dude, because I see what he's trying to do, but at the same time, it's like we're suffering, like, and it's already pretty bad. But I don't know.
Okay, but I want to ask you this question because the national debt is like something I really study a lot. So, other than tariffs, what can the U.S. do to bring in revenue? Because the whole point of these tariffs is to bring revenue to the U.S. and get rid of our debt. Because I think the debt is a problem.
Yeah, of course.
So, maybe what can we do to like bring revenue? Maybe other than
That's a good
tariffs?
question. I think to be honest with you, I'm really happy with Doge.
Mhm.
I think what they've done is amazing. I think going in and cutting out all the BS and all the stuff, I think it's great. Elon Musk, I think,
It's controversial at times.
yeah, I like Elon Musk and um wait, I'm going on a different topic. We're talking about how much we can make more money.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think what Doge did, I think that's exactly what we need to be doing. I think um yeah, I don't think I can't think of anything else that needs to be done besides what Doge is doing, where they're sitting and actually balancing the sheets and the budget and looking at all the waste that we're doing. I think that's all we could do. And then the tariffs, of course. Tariffs are okay for collecting money, but I think they're only good for fighting trade wars and to gain leverage over other countries for a certain period of time.
So, for me, I think tariffs are essential depending on certain industries, right? Because sometimes you want to protect certain industries here, like steel, for example. You want to protect the steel industry here, but other than it's better to have it here than outsourcing it from a different country because raw resources and materials, they're very essential. So maybe tariffs on certain products would be safe to protect our companies. But in general, having these like if there were thank God he reduced it, but it's only a 90-day, right? Is it like 90-day?
90 days, 10% everything.
So you think it can go back up again, or
I don't think he's going to.
okay?
I think for the vast majority of countries, he's going to remove it. The 10% tariff, he might just keep that in, which
I think
it's gonna get passed down
yeah.
unless they come back here. But some companies can't. Some industries can't. Like, like kind of like we said, like avocados. There's only a certain season in California where avocados can be produced. Like I think it's like 3 or 4 months in the year.
Mhm.
Avocados can be produced in the entire year in Mexico. So yeah,
No, but what happened? Are there tariffs on Mexico and China too? Because then we have the national, the North American agreement. We had zero tariffs between us and Mexico and Canada.
we used to, and then he
So
was
now it's
like,
10% on them too.
now I think they're exempt from the 10%.
They're exempt, okay.
Let me confirm that though.
Because I think Canada is one of the top buyers of American exports, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Yeah, actually you're right. So, Canada and Mexico are free, right now. So those are the only countries that are free,
Okay, I think because of the
which
north,
is good.
the north American alliance or something like that. We have some agreement between us.
Yeah, the Mexico-Canada agreement.
Agreement.
United States Mexico-Canada agreement.
Okay. So that's good because a lot of our if you go to the supermarket, lots of our food is from Mexico. So you don't want your grocery to your grocery price to go up. And then we freaked out when eggs went up, remember? Like that.
Oh
everybody was
man.
freaking out.
Okay, so you know how at the beginning of this podcast I said that the 125% tariff on China isn't officially, in place yet? It's now officially in place.
Oh, so we're just right now?
Like literally right now he just implemented it.
Okay.
That's tariff code 99030163. Articles of product in China, including products of Hong Kong and Macau, will be addressed with the ad valorem tax of 125%.
Okay, what does that actually mean? So you're saying like prices are hiked up by an additional 125%?
No, it's
So
gonna be just a tariff 125% on everything. You don't have to use any of the old tariffs that you put in place already. It's just 125%. And then there's another one right here that says the country specific rates effective on April 9th are suspended. So the country specific rates that became effective on April
those
9th,
reciprocal tariffs
they're
are
all
gone?
suspended for China.
Okay.
And then now you have to use just that one, and it's 125. Yeah.
But like I'm saying, for if I want to buy something from China, do I pay the product's price plus 125% on top of that price?
No, so how it works is I buy I don't know. I suck at thinking of stuff. I buy bandages
Mhm.
from China, right? And I paid $10,000 for those bandages. On taxes, I have to pay $10,250
For-
to bring it in. Yeah.
Wait, so it's another additional 250?
No, an additional $10,250.
Oh, an additional 10,000.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So
you're
instead
paying
of instead of the bandages costing 10,000, they're $20,250.
yeah, so that's what I meant. Like you're paying the price of the good plus an additional 25% on top.
No, 125%.
Oh yeah,
Not 25.
no, I'm saying like you're paying double. You're
Oh,
paying double
yeah,
for the
oh,
price.
yeah,
plus
we're
the
saying the same
additional.
thing. Yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
So
it's
that is
bad.
expensive. So paying 2,000,
Yeah.
20,250 for those bandages.
Yeah, so instead of bandages
20,000.
costing how much are bandages? Like $3.99 a box,
yeah.
right? It's gonna be $8.25.
825. Damn, that's a lot.
I know. Imagine everything.
Everything. I mean,
But this is
everything.
not. I highly doubt. I'm sorry. As strong as we try to think America is,
Mhm.
we're not strong enough to handle that.
Mhm.
Our supply chains haven't moved anywhere yet. Like I don't think they've had enough time. So there's gonna be a deal made. There has to be.
Yeah, so I think we're just freaking out right now, but I think in the next one or probably a couple of days, maybe somebody's gonna pick up the phone. But I think it's just a matter of ego right now, where Trump doesn't want to. He's waiting for China to hit him up, and China wants America to call them first. But if both of our those if the Chinese president and our president are both of their egos are big, and nobody wants to make any progress, it's gonna spiral out of control. But I think it's a matter of time where somebody has to put their ego aside and make the move. But that deal will definitely be made. I think this is just another one of Trump's tactics to pressure China, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So
So-
that's my train of thought. But okay, what does this mean for like people like us, the younger generation? You think
Mm.
they don't really have much of experience, right?
With
I mean,
much
they're not really like it's not impacting them as much, right? Or do you think it will?
Of course it will, bro. Everything that we buy is gonna go up.
Okay.
Like I don't know.
No, what I'm saying is like, as a young person right now, you're not really working, or you're not in the front line seeing this happen in front of you, so it's not really affecting you. Like I just go back to my day in school, it was like whatever.
Yeah.
But for older people, when they saw their retirement accounts like lose a bunch of money overnight, I think it just
It'll go back
people
up.
who are working or
The stock market will go back up.
It'll go back up. Yeah.
It'll go back up. It'll recover. Everybody just always freaks out, bro. It doesn't. People. The best way to live life is to just pay attention to what's in front of you.
Mhm.
I don't think it's good to stare at the news all day and keep up with every single thing that's happening and be like, oh my god, this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened. the likelihood that anything that's happening right now in the news is gonna destroy your life is probably not that serious unless you're paying attention to every second of it. The best way to live life, bro, is to get information here and there, but just focus on what you want to do, your goals, your aspirations, what you love doing every day, and succeed at that. That's all you got. That's all I think people need to be doing.
Okay.
And you'll notice a difference. Probably stuff will go up, but like you just gotta plan for it and be more frugal in what you spend and just be more careful. If nothing ever happens, and that's a possibility, maybe the Chinese tariffs don't go down and we're in this for another 3 years. And we have to deal with it. But hopefully a lot of companies come here,
Mhm.
and they start manufacturing here, and it's not as expensive as buying from China.
Okay.
Yeah.
But so, how do you think the Trump administration is running things right now? Do you agree? I mean, I personally, when Trump was talking, like before he got elected, I liked the America First policies.
Me too.
I was behind that. I want to see our own country being patriotic, and I want to see national identity and pride. But at the same time, we have to have a balance between our ego and actually like messing with with our economies and our markets, because we can't be self-sufficient, and like this economy and with all these countries competing with each other, it's really hard to have everything produced domestically, and there has to be trade, like there has to be. But what other policies do you think the Trump administration is getting right or wrong, or what do you think so far?
Um, I think most people. I think what he's actually doing, it's really hard because I want to look at it and be like, wow, he's really making a difference, and he doesn't care what anyone thinks,
Mhm.
and he's really like just doing what needs to be done. Yeah, we're getting hurt now, but maybe in the future this will really be successful and good. But I'm doubting. I don't know if this is gonna work. This might not work.